Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this live showdown between Hadries and Alfredino. So it is going to be with the new Beastmen facing off against the mighty Dowie, Master Engineers backed up by Belegar Ironhammer, facing off against the Double Jabberslythe and Malagor the Dark Omen. So yeah, the Beastmen got some really good tools in this matchup. However, Dwarves did get buffed as well. Master Engineers have an AoE slow, so there's, some back and forth here. But the Jabberslythes, I think, are big MVPs in this matchup. They, of course, have anti-infantry, armor piercing, and a Mortis Engine effect. However, the Mortis Engine isn't gonna actually work against Dwarves. Oh, that's so funny! So the Jabberslythes actually do Mortis Engine when leadership is below 50%, which is impossible with Slayers. Oh, that is such a clever tech here by Alfredino. I love that. On top of that, Hadries does have the double Wargore Chariots backed up by the double Tuskgore Chariots. Now, Wargores on the single entity Chariots I think are borderline OP, a little bit broken like how High Elf Noble Chariots used to be. Crazy AP, crazy bonus for infantry, but they also do well against SEMs, which are single entity models. So it should be quite interesting to see how Alfredino tries to counter this. So he's got double Master Engineer, Fiery Rings of Thori, a nice one going right there on the Ungor Herd. Man, what an excellent cast. That was like perfect timing. And right now the Dwarves, the dreaded Dwarven Kite is upon us, but Hadries has a very aggressive pursuit. The Jabberslythes, of course, they look slow, but they're actually deceivingly fast. They have 60-something speed. And Jabberslythes also have this crazy leaping attack animation where when they're surrounded, they escape very well. Here comes the first jump, right on top of the Dwarven units, and it should do the explosion here in a second. But the flash bomb going down there from Alfredino, very good. And now Belegar and company is going to be piling in. However, an absolute massacre on the other side as well. Giant Slayers being cut to ribbons here. The Tuskgore Chariots plus the two Wargores, the Jabberslythe moving in, Malagor just flying around being an angry peacock. Maybe summoning a Cygor here. It looks like that is going to be the case maybe from Hadries. 1, 2, and a 3. That's very good. The Cygor can then beat on these, Master Engineers and try and cause some problems. But if Alfredino can actually catch this Jabberslythe, slow it down, and finish the job on this bad boy, I think that would maybe justify the trade here, but this has been an absolute massacre on this side. Giant Slayers and these basic Slayers just being run down by the Chariots, the Jabberslythe. And Slayers actually die very quickly to basic hounds as well, so the Chaos Warhounds and company are able to cut through them. Bounce Power is still somewhat even, and that's good for the Dwarves considering that there is a Cygor on the battlefield. Here, Slayers are cutting through the Ungors. Unfortunately, some tactical reserves up here on the top will be engaging against Ungors in a second, but one Jabberslythe is gone, and Jabberslythes do not have any method of healing. Really nice Fiery Ring of Thori once again going down. Scab Scrape effects, even with the new patch, are still very good. It doesn't seem like they were nerfed. Malagor, in the meantime, just flying up. He's got an enfeebling foe if there comes a duelist situation. But here comes the bad boys. These are the real scourge of the roster for the Dwarves. And like I said earlier in the replay, Chariots have been buffed in this DLC. Their masses, I don't know if all Chariots have, but at least the Beastmen Chariots, man oh man, they cause some serious problems. Of course, you're not going to see them terribly often in like campaign and things like that, but in campaign, I can see having Wargores on Chariots and trying to get value there. Now, the one thing that's good for Alfredino, of course, is that the Slayers are pretty much good against all these monsters, right? In theory, also not bad against Chariots. More so if they're Dragonback Slayers, but the Giant Slayers are going to be really tough. Plus, the Dwarves do also have several slows at their disposal, I should say. They have the Master Engineers with the smoke bombs, but ooh, look at this Master Engineer getting crumped. You better watch out, because if these two, not Jabberslythes, but the Wargores actually jump on him, that could be a very tough situation here. So Mortis Engine effect going down, and you can see the Mortis Engine, yeah, the only thing it's been able to hit this entire game has been the Bugman's Rangers. That is so funny. On this side, the Jabberslythe, the Vorburgland Broodmother running for its life. Really nice Harpy intercept here. The Harpies might be able to intercept these Slayers, peel them off, and the mighty Belegar Ironhammer, the classic cheap Dwarven Lord that people bring just to be budget. It's when you're a little bit tight at the end of the month, you call up Belegar and he shows up, and the more expensive Dwarf Lords stay home. Master Engineers on the run. It looks like the Dwarves are trying to consolidate their forces. The Master Engineers will be quite good against the Chariots with their guns as well as the Jabberslythe. Now, this Slayer unit looking like it's relatively doomed, perhaps. But the Chariots really have saturated in. It's taking massive casualties here, but no Jabberslythe Mortis Engine. That is so funny. But Flash Bomb is still an AoE. It's a ranged AoE slow, but the aura is very small. Oh, look at the Jabberslythe. They just escorted those Master Engineers halfway across the map. Oh man, this is such a crazy one. I'm really enjoying seeing the new Dwarven stuff facing off against a really powerful Beastman build here. So here comes your boy Belegar and the Jabberslythe leaping across. They're such cool monsters too. Getting one last lunge in. I mean, this ROR really fighting to the bitter end. Usually you wouldn't kind of think of Beastmen as a high leadership faction, but these guys are holding it down. Now, Giant Slayers here getting cut pretty good. Now, one thing to take into account, guys, in this particular patch, Beastmen have some serious issues with the bounce of power in the way that they're almost always super far ahead, even when it's not the accurate state of the game. As a matter of fact, I think the bounce power is a little bit closer than we would think here, but here the Cygor might be the turning of the tide, but it really doesn't matter too much. I mean, you're going to have to get rid of all these Slayers, and the Slayers, yeah, I mean, they're in their happy space, They're They're golfing here, having fun, and battling giant, disgusting monsters. Malagor looking to get his wings dirty, his hooves. He does attack the Master Engineer. Nice little charge bonus of 63 on him. And the Master Engineer turns around, he whips out his hammer, and both Master Engineers going to be going for it. But Malagor, ooh, is he going to be able to get away? He's on. How fast is he right now, man? Okay, that smoke bomb wore off pretty darn quick. One Jabberslythe running for the hills. The Wargors, though, are going to be a problem, as well as the Tuskor Chariots. But the Slayers are holding firm. Oh my goodness, what a close scrap between these two top-tier players. Of course, both of them will be playing in the ECL Grand Finals. They both qualified through the ECL system, so clearly both are the cream of the crop, as Macho Man Randy Savage would say. Why is this thing top? You know how it is. Look at that fiery ring going down. Actually, it does hit that Ungor herd. I have to say, Alfredino is really good with those. And Hadri's with a beautiful charge as well. Really gets in there and runs through those Slayers. Another fiery ring attempt. And yeah, I mean, that's really not easy to do. Like hitting a moving infantry unit, timing it perfectly, while also dealing with all these other variables and factors. That is really nice. So this is a summon Cygor that did take a lot of damage from the Slayers. So really nice value from Hadri's there, in the sense that it absorbed a lot of damage that otherwise his other characters might have taken. But Belegar going after the Tuskor Chariots, which are just about broken. As far as Slayers, we have 11 Dragonback Slayers who have been rallied. So I mean, you know, they're super hyped, but oh, the Pigeon's in trouble. Well, Peacock, he's not a Peacock anymore. He can fly. Let's see what it looks like when he takes off, actually. Oh, he just kind of like leaps up there. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, based on the banners, you would think the Dwarfs are in good shape, right? But the Tuskor Chariots just causing massive disruption here. In the meantime, downtown, you've got the Ungors and the Raiders who are now coming back in. Even 27 Raiders could put some substantial hurt on the remnants and very tattered core of Slayers here. 2 Dragonback Slayers left. Master Engineer is getting a little bit of damage, but honestly, I don't think there's an answer here for the Dwarves. Or there is an answer, but not a good one at dealing with the Wargors. And now, of course, we do have the attacking Ungor Raiders who obey the attacking rule, which means that the Beastmen can cycle charge to their heart's content. And the Jabberslythe making its way downtown. Making my way downtown, fighting Dwarves. And here he comes. So he's got 960. 26 kills. Jabberslythes were a good distraction card effects this game. Certainly did not accrue the value that the Wargors did. Those guys were the real terror in the night. And with that, the Mighty Slayer Legion is going to be taken down. Now, you can see, I would be willing to wager that those Tuskor Chariots probably both accrued well over 1,500 value, if not 2,000. There's something about them that's very good. So, until they're nerfed, or if they are nerfed, I think the meta is going to be Malagor and double Tuskor. Yeah, 1,400, 1,500, that's pretty good. They only cost like 800 or 900, so that's a steal, and they were still healthy. Jabberslythe 600 and 700, they were focused heavily, and plus they were fighting Slayers, and on top of that, their Mortis Engine effect had nothing to do that game. And the Tuskors and everything else, 1,200. And the Chariots, of course, have always been the bane of Dwarves. In previous patches, not so much, because Chariot Mass kind of sucked, so Dwarves could catch them. I was actually talking to Alfredino before this game, and he mentioned, he's like, yeah, you know, before I didn't need to account for Chariots as much, but now you do. I mean, in the full Slayer build, it was a close game. Like, that was close. It went long, it was contested. Both players, you know, did well and microed well, but the fiery rings were beautiful from Alfredino. But I do think that went from being a Dwarf favored matchup to a Beastman favored matchup until Tuskors maybe become not as much of a thing. I'm trying to think of what you would do. Maybe you just got to go all in with like Iron Drakes, but it's so hard to protect them with new Chariot Mass and Jabberslythe like diving into your lines and stuff. It's a very dicey one. So well played to these two champions. Thank you guys for playing, Alfred and Hadri's. We'll have some more of your games on the channel here in the next couple days. And thank you all for sticking around. We'll be back soon with more replays. You guys take care of yourselves.